What's happening?
What's up, everyone? Doing?
Man, well, welcome, Papa John. Good, good to have you back. I'm glad baby boy and mama are doing fantastic, and
Yes.
congratulations.
Thank you. It's been awesome. We're 12 days in. It's been amazing so far. When people say like just wait until it's yours, when you don't have a kid, you're like, yeah, I'm sure, but it's true. you know, it's a
Yeah,
different feeling when it's yours and you're holding them. So
yeah, it is.
we're excited. We're pumped. Everyone is recovering. Everyone is adjusting. Actually, this is my first week back, kind of getting into the swing of things with work. So I'm excited to be back on these calls with you. The biggest challenge, though, is I'm not a work from home person. And so you've probably been working from home for a while
Long
now.
time,
And
long
so
time.
I'm really trying to adjust to that and make myself more efficient and effective, which goes into kind of what we're going to be talking today of having a system to make sure that you're staying in um, disciplined around your business, around the things that we really need to be focusing on that drives our business forward.
Yeah, I think what helps. This is good for a lot of agents, and a lot of agents, I think more so we're already kind of hybrid. Obviously, we know pandemic really forced everything to be really hybrid, and for some, never getting back into a physical office. I do like the physical office. I do like the change of pace to be able to get into kind of
Yeah.
an area. Um, I think starting out, because it's a little different for me to say now, just because I've been doing it so long. I know how to stay focused and stay disciplined in crazy hectic environments, and I think that also kind of goes back to understanding kind of where your what are the things that can help your attention, right, to help you stay engaged. And I've shared it with you and with others. One of my favorite all-time apps is the Focus at Will app.
Yeah.
And it's really designed to find noises and sounds that allows your brain to focus. And there's all kinds of different things. But the one I gravitated to and have for a long time, I mean, I think I've been on this app for over 10 years, but what gravitates me where it is um, in a coffee shop, right? Coffee shop type of environment. So when I know I need to get really focused, then I'll put that on, and then the timer. Um, if I'm out and about, right, I'll put the headphones on and put it on as well to stay
Yeah.
focused, to stay engaged. But fast track, having a plan, having a calendar. And I would say, in the beginning, for a lot of people trying to figure out the transition, have a designated work area, right? So this house has an office, and it's at the front, so can kind of walk in. The house when I was in Oklahoma had this cool kind of upstairs type loft area that had a patio out up top, right? So a lot of sunshine, a lot of glass. But what was really cool about it, I had my bike up there, so it was almost like going to another location, right? I would go
Yeah.
upstairs to go to the office, and then when I would come down, because it had a bathroom, it had refrigerator, sink, it had everything. So like I could go to work, I could go upstairs into the office, and then I could disassociate from work when I came downstairs, right? So having a clear separation, I think, is really, really important in a type of work from home, virtual type of environment. Have a work area, and then being able to step into work and step away from work is super key. And with kiddos, you got to create kind of boundaries. You got to
Yeah.
create some kind of guidelines. It's no different than in office, right? We would have
Yeah.
little social cues, either headphones in or stop signs or things like that, that would just let people know, hey, I'm in my jam time, right? I'm in my focus time. Like, somebody better be dying or dead Otherwise, give me my 30 minutes, give me my 45 minutes. So I think, being able to create clear separation, you're into work, you're out of work, things that allow you to be focused. And then, those that are maybe in the house or interacting, create some kind of social cues that lets them know that, hey, I'm focused time. Like somebody better be dead. Or just like, I'm not asking for all day. I'm in 30-minute cycles, right? Let me jam, then I'll come check on you. Let me jam, let me come check on you. And so I think those are kind of the key for that. But, first and foremost, it comes down to kind of what we talked about last week, is having a damn plan and what you're working towards and what you're working for. And then today with the fast track is what do I need to do, the things within my control. And if I execute on it, here's another cool thing. And I wish it was funny, man. And, I guess given some unsolicited parenting advice, I was just thinking about this, walking today. This is one of my favorite things in the morning, right? Typically, I typically I'm not running first thing in the morning. Typically I've got, the ruck, 36, 40 pounds in the ruck, and go for a nice walk for a good hour. Mindfulness, listen to, just good stuff. And then sometimes I'll just shut it off and just silence.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it this morning and I was like, man, missing out on all the things that I missed out on didn't change anything in my life. And, I don't want to say regrets. What I would say is be real clear on really what matters. And the things that you think you're going to miss kiddo stuff for doesn't change the outcome. It doesn't make things significantly better in your life.
Yeah.
And so, I love the virtual aspect, being able to be around, be a little more present. It's kind of cool. Zane's, kind of taking a year away from in-person school. He's been virtual. And, selfishly, I love it because, I get to see him. I get to go check on him. I get to help him with his homework. I get to do those type of things from a virtual standpoint. But, if you're trying to work, trying to do that, it comes back down to, what we talked about last week, building the foundation, knowing what we're working towards, what are our targets, and then today, and then how fast can I knock that shit out? Really. And I think that's kind of the key. I mean, it's even y'all's story of how this even came to be. I mean, you guys would knock your shit out and then you would be at the pool in the afternoon.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, right? Like it's a numbers game. And sometimes you hit that, diminishing returns, right? It's like, I'm gonna put extra hours in, but I ain't getting no return back on it. And so I think being real clear with that, knowing what your goals are, knowing what's required, and do the required things, and then move on with the rest of your life.
Yeah. And I think too, like I mentioned it on my Clubhouse call today, because again, I am I go into the office 5 days a week. To me, it just helps me mentally. It's a separation. Work is at the office, and just how I always have been in my career. Even when I first got in and was younger, I just realized that, when I was younger, I was 22. So I'd play video games. I'd, like things with Sports Center, top 10 plays would distract me. And then next thing you know, I watched the whole next hour of Sports Center highlights. And so, I'm just now working from home, I'm like, man, I kind of like this, but I know I'm not as effective right now, right? I'm not as efficient, and that's okay. It goes back to kind of the fast track, right? And I mentioned this on my Clubhouse call today. It's the difference between like I put on sweats today as opposed to jeans. And like some people be like, well, that's not a big deal, but it actually is a big deal, right? Because it makes you a little bit more comfortable, right? And it doesn't, jeans, not saying that they're not comfortable, but to me, jeans and a button down shirt or jeans and a polo is a work outfit. Sweats and, my long sleeve shirt is, hey, let's hang out for a bit. And again, there's nothing wrong, but if you're an agent, right, and you're getting into the business and you're working from home or you're not going into the office, it's the small details that had, helped me early on get to my first original goal, which was to make six figures, right? It wasn't these big changes that I had to make in my business. It was smaller things that I just had to tweak and stay more dialed in with and and more consistent with, which is why I kind of came up with the fast track when it comes to prospecting. And it is true, right? We don't have to prospect 8 hours a day to make a good living doing real estate. Really, it's hyper focused for 2 to 3 hours max. If you talk to any peak performer that's hitting the phones, they're not doing it 8 hours a day, right? They're really doing 2 to 3 hours of real intentional prospecting, setting appointments daily, and that's it, right? The rest of their days are filled with appointments, meetings, maybe marketing, right? Lead generation, all of those things. But really, it's 2 to 3 hours of prospecting. And so, even me right now going through this transition period, right? It's like, wake up, still get your prospecting done. And as long as that gets done, then enjoy the rest of the day. Spend it with the family, go out and do things. And that's where a lot of agents lack. And I think it can be as simple as, when do you wake up and what clothes do you put on, even if you're working from home?
It is. I think anything that you can do to trigger that in, right, to trigger that mode, right, for your brain to kind of flip that part on, especially in the beginning, I think it's super, super important, right, is to get up and get ready as if you're going into the office, and just go through that process, right, that you normally go through. If you do that, it'll keep you engaged with it a lot easier. And I'm like, would you get on camera with it, right? And so, like, there's certain people and clients that, like, I'll get on with the camera. Maybe I just got done on a run or a training session.
Yep.
And I'm okay, because I would go meet with them face to face just like that, because they're probably the same, right? But there's other people that you want to be a little more prepared for. But whatever that trigger is that gets you into, that kind of that habit stacking, right? That gets you into that where you need to be. But then the biggest thing, man, comes down to, what is it that I have to do today within my control that's going to move my business forward? Did I do those things, right? That power list, your fast track, start checking those things off and doing those activities. And as long as you can do that and you build that muscle, you can do it from anywhere. There's no excuse. You can go into the office, you can, travel, you can go around. And I think a lot of people like that, but they've got to do the things to build up to it, to where they can do the activities that are required for that to be even possible.
And part of, what we need to do is plan ahead, right? It's not just, let's prospect today. It's, who are we prospecting? What list are we prospecting? Are we calling leads? If we're doing leads, do we need to circle back around to the people that came through our open houses? If you focus on building your open houses, it's really planning ahead of, what days are you prospecting, what leads that you've generated recently. And so with the fast track, the one thing I love about this system is it's all free. Right? You don't have to go out and spend money on leads if you don't want to. If you want to, there's multiple different ways that you're going to reach out to people, engage with, have real estate conversations. And then it's just consistency, the power of the numbers. And I think where a lot of us, as agents, it doesn't matter if you're an experienced agent or, just started yesterday. Where we struggle is we want the instant gratification of the results. So we think we have to do it big, right? We got to commit 1 day, 5 days, 2 weeks, 1 month to going all out on this one thing, which is great in the moment, but that's this.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's this. And what we really want within our business is, that plateau of the results.
Yeah. And sometimes it's not possible from a seasonality perspective, but we can do this with our effort.
Yep.
Right. We can stay consistent with our effort. And there's going to be, sometimes it's just like the seasons, right? Sometimes it's going to bear more fruit than others, depending upon the time of the year. But no matter what, we still have that 20-mile march. Yep. Right. We're staying consistent. We're hitting our targets. And that's really what Fast Track does. And it's, I'm going to keep coming back to it, right? Because that's where our mindset has to go is, is this within my control? Right. And if so, what am I doing that's within my control. That's moving me closer to what it is I'm trying to accomplish. And I think it's just a great framework to have. And, like I had Amy Gregory on Expert Mentors last week, and, Amy built her business. I mean, she only did, she would only do 5 million in production, but that was kind of her goal, is
Yep.
where she wanted to be. But she only worked 10 hours a week because that's all the time that she had while kids were at school or daycare.
Yeah.
That she had to get it right. And so I get it. I see it with Leanne, and, Leanne, single mom, 3 active kids, all in sports, like travel stuff, like not just normal school athletics, just crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. And so, like, she's got a short period of time, right? They're dropped off. She's can be on the phones or there from about 9 till about 3. That's about it, right? And then she'll do an open house or something on the weekends with her listings and her listing clientele. But think about that, right? I mean, she's really only got 5, 6 solid hours every day. So she's 30 hours, clockable hours that you would say. I mean, obviously all the conversations and everything that goes in, but
right.
Like, what are you doing during that time to move your business forward? And so I think it's just having that clear plan, and then knowing the activities required, and then allocating that into the calendar. That's the biggest thing, right? And that's why it's every week. Every week's different. And you're going to start to, like, with the baby, today's going to be a little different than tomorrow. Oh, we got a doctor's appointment. Oh, Anna's got to go to an appointment. I'm going to have to keep him, right? So it all changes and navigates. But what I love about something like the fast track is that it doesn't matter when you do it. You just do it and you just get it done. And being able to look at that and the ebbs and flows in the calendar is so key.
Yeah. I think too, the one question I was going to ask you is, what do you think, really holds someone back from just focusing on the prospecting, right? Like when you talked about, you were talking about, freedom, right? You could travel, you could, a lot of things that we could do with our career. We don't have to always necessarily be in the city, depending on, or where you live, depending on, how you have your business set up. But what do you think? Like, why do agents struggle with just saying, hey, I'm only going to focus on prospecting from 9 to 12, 9 to 11 every single day? Why do you feel like we always have to be doing more? Because I think that's what we all struggle with, right? We think if we're not doing more, then our business isn't going to become more. But really what it is we need to start doing less of all of the other stuff and just focus on the prospecting.
I think it's a cultural thing is really what it is. And, you look at some cultures, like the, Japanese culture thinks in decades, right? Thinks in centuries, thinks, what am I building this business, and how are my grandkids, and my great grandkids going to take that over? Whereas you get into our culture and it's like, it's just wild of celebrate it that you work 100 and, there's 168 hours and you work 150 of them, right? Like there's some badge of honor for that. And it's kind of being careful that, not falling into that trap. And that was kind of my point earlier, is that because I can promise you a decade, 2 decades after, the sacrifice that you lost out on those moments with your kids, because you only have till about, you really only have till about 12, 13. And then it starts to fall off. And when they get 17, 18, gone, right? It's gone. And, I'm, obviously experiencing a lot of that with my 2 oldest, Zane, still, 13, being able to see that with Leanne's kids. But I I can just tell you that you are you're better off finding just the amount of time required for you to hit your goals, and that's it.
Yeah.
I was listening to Rogan yesterday, I think on my walk, and I think he was I bounce between his shows so much, but he was talking along the points of money. He was talking about, in relation to money, and he said, the best piece of advice that he was ever given was have enough money to where when you go out to dinner, you don't even worry about what the price is going to be. He said that's freedom. Freedom's when your bills are paid and you can go out to, it doesn't matter where you go. You don't even look. You say, hey, let's have a bottle of wine. Hey, bring me that cut of meat. Hey, let's do this. And you don't look at the price.
Yeah.
He said, that's it. He said, because everything else doesn't really matter. You really can't tell the difference. He said, but when your bills are paid and you can go out to eat and not worry about the price, and you can pick up the tab for everybody, and you don't look at the menu, you don't look at the price, it doesn't bother you, that's freedom. That's enough money. And so I think, when we get into to falling into, and it's the gap in the gain. It's the gap in the gain concept and trying to keep up with the Joneses. And it's like, but that's chasing status.
Yeah.
And you've heard me talk a lot about this, that, 20 years in this game. And if I was coaching me and Kinder 20 years ago, that I would make sure that our clarity and our vision is chasing freedom, not chasing status. Because if you chase status, it can set you back decades. It can set you back. And that's understanding, having a clear direction in what you're moving to. And, everybody listening here, whatever that vision is for you, and it could be, hey, I want to sell 5 houses because that helps me, helps us, be able to take a really nice vacation for our kids during the summer. It allows us to have an incredible, Christmas and being able to give. We're not worried about, making ends meet. 5 houses would really be significant change in our household income.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Right. And so I think it's getting real clear, like what we talked about last week, man, getting real clear on what is the goal. And I would start, I would take it a little layers deeper. Is that really the goal?
Yeah.
How come that's the goal? Why is that the goal? What does that goal represent? And John, when you get those layers deeper, the real truth comes out. I think you and I talked about this. I think it was the CEO of Priceline. He would do that in the early days as they were building, and he would do that with his team. And what he would do is he would get down to the real root of why they wanted this job, why they were making the sacrifice, why they were doing the things that they were doing. And the story that I heard that they were kind of talking through this ended up being that his mom had never owned a home. And his reason was to working this, to be able to do that, was to be able to save enough money so he could buy her a home, because she's never had a home that she's owned. And so he said, that's it. And he made him go find a picture of the dream house, right? Go find it. Pinterest, go wherever, go find that image, print it out, put it by his desk. So now when whatever the gentleman's name is, founder of Priceline, when he would come by and he would see that person, he wouldn't ask him how close are we to getting that down payment for the house? How close are we getting that down payment for the house? And it just changes the behavior when you could get down to the real root of it. And that's what I would tell people in real estate, especially right now, because, it's such a headwind, right? In such a headwind. And the only way that you can get through a headwind is strategically, with effort, with intent. But why are we fighting into that headwind? And so I think, it's a combination of those things and why we're doing what we're doing. But what is the minimum required activities for that to be true?
Yeah.
And I think that's where you got to nail. And that's what we talked about last week. And then that's where fast track, it's just those handful of activities every day that's going to allow us to continue to make momentum and keep
Yeah.
moving.
And I think too, the other thing that I've noticed is owning your what success is for you. You know, I think our industry does a terrible job in the sense of you have to go out and sell X homes and, you know, make X money and be doing this for X number of years and all of those things. I think, you know, for me, I've always said, like, I was cool selling 25 to 35 homes a year. I wanted to, because my goals and reasons for real estate was not to brag that I was a real estate agent, but it was to live a lifestyle where it allowed me to do more traveling and have more experiences. It was the, you know, go out and have a nice steak dinner. All right. That, to me, that's an experience. And so I live for those moments, whether they're small, medium, or large. You know, but with the daily success plan, right? What I love about that is the trackability behind it. You know, if you want to go and sell 5 houses a year, well, here's kind of where you need to be tracking your business day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, in order to be able to hit those goals. Now you just have to own it, right? You can't worry about that seasoned agent, you know, that's selling 100 homes. That's their goal, not your goal. You got to be comfortable in your own skin with what you got going on. So, you want me to break down the daily success plan and kind of what these activities are for, you know, the people?
100%.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So, you know, the whole point of the daily success plan, I always say my day doesn't start until this is printed off in front of me. I am a write it down, have it in front of me type of person. But the idea behind this, where a lot of agents struggle, is they do not know where their next client's coming from, and they don't know when they're going to get paid next, right? There's no predictability to their business, and they don't know where their business is coming from. So, you know, Real Estate Launch helped with that first question, right? Clarity on your foundation. But within that, we got to focus on our daily activities that we have to do to make sure we're having the conversations. And so on the daily success plan, you print it off at the top. There's 3 goals for the day. I took this from Gary Keller's The One Thing. There's a difference between a to-do list and a success list. And so your goals for the day is not a to-do list. It's, if I do these 3 things, I can say I had a successful day. So it might be complete daily success plan to completion. It might be book 1 face-to-face appointment. It may be finish up my buyer consultation process, right? If I get those 3 things done, even though I maybe didn't get results, right? Clients or closings or whatever, I can still say that was a successful day. So each one of those goals, there's 3 of them each day, equals 1 point. One of the things within Fast Track is the power of consistency behind the numbers. So we're on a 23 points per day system here. I believe within your daily rhythm, you should do 1 hour of training. Now, this could be reading a book, listening to a podcast, jumping on a call like this, YouTubing, doesn't matter to me. I always would habit stack my 1 hour of training the hour before I started prospecting. It just helped me get my mind right. And if you look at my business today, it's my clubhouse call in the beginning, my daily huddle, right? It's from 8 to 9 strategically, because 9 o'clock is usually when I started prospecting. That's usually when my day kicks off. So 1 hour of training is a half a point. You know, either you did it or you didn't. Then you kind of move into more of the social media side of things that you should be focusing on every single day. 5 direct messages. It doesn't have to be 5 direct messages on one platform. Space them out across platforms. If you have a bigger following on one platform, maybe you do it on one platform. Maybe you mix and match, right? Maybe it's 5 today on Facebook, 5 tomorrow on Instagram, 5 the next day on TikTok, whatever you want to grow. But the point of the direct messages is that you're looking for those life events that people are talking about and promoting and posting on social media that allows you to not just leave a comment, but for you to engage in a different way, to stand out, right? Meaningful conversations around what they're talking about, because what we need to do as agents is stay top of mind. We don't have to puke real estate on them, but we have to let them know that we're here, right? They know you do real estate if you're posting, which we'll talk about here in a second, about real estate, right? They're going to stalk you. We all check everyone's profiles, right? We all know what everyone does. So 5 DMs a day. That, each DM is 1 point, and then 15 comments a day. You guys all know I'm a Gary V follower. It's his $1.80 strategy, just not on steroids like his. But 15 comments a day. This resonated with me on a podcast I was listening to by him that said it's called social media for a reason. You have to be social. Social means just not individual, but multiple, right? You have to actively engage with people. And so, what are those posts? What are those videos? What are those stories that we can actively engage with our friends, our followers, right? Our subscribers, all of those things. And so half a point per comment. And they have to be meaningful comments. They can't just be congratulations. They can't be happy birthday.
Right.
One way to think about this is that if it takes more than 4 or 5 words, it's probably more on the meaningful side, right? If you're commenting a sentence or two, you're going to stand out as opposed to the people that are just saying congratulations, right? Or happy birthday or whatever the case may be. So that right there, that social media aspect, the 5 DMs, the 15 comments, that's 12.5 points a day if you do all of those to completion. Focus on is 3 social media posts. Each post is 1 point. A lot of agents, when I talk to them about this, they struggle. I get it. I was there too. What do I talk about? What do I post? I'm a private person. I don't have much going on in real estate, all of those things. Here's the simplistic way of how I think about this. Post 1 thing per day around a hobby or an interest that you have. We're trying to connect with like-minded people that are liking things that are similar to what we like. It makes for that connection to happen a little bit easier and faster. Post 1 thing that you did today in real estate and post 1 personal thing. Now, I'm mixing in a little bit more personal things over the last 12 days, if you guys have noticed, because, we had our baby. But before that, I was pretty much just real estate and business posts, right? But I post a quote every single morning. Tuesdays are my coaching tips. Thursdays are market updates, but there's things, right, that I like. I like quotes. That's just what it is. So right there's 3 posts, right? 1 hobby or an interest, 1 real estate thing that you did today. It could just be checking into the office, and then 1 personal thing. And what I found, I call it the 3 scroll rule. I have a private Facebook group that only is available to builder reps and real estate agents. And when agents try to join that group, I go to their profile, and if I scroll 3 times and I don't see anything real estate related, I question whether or not they're a real estate agent.
Yeah.
Right. And so then I have to dig deeper, right? Because I don't want someone that's not an agent to come into our community, right? So I have to dig a little bit deeper. So think about that with your guys' social media. If you're not showing your audience, your sphere of influence, that you're active doing real estate, and I think some of this you could manufacture, some of this is obviously going to be true, be true and real, but just document what you're doing. Document a takeaway from this call. Check in going into the office. Talk about the showing that you're about to do tonight. Talk about a conversation that you had with a client or a potential client. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but people need to see that you're doing real estate.
Yeah.
They love working with people that are busy doing real estate. So that satisfies the social media side. 3 social media posts. You're actively engaging, right, with your followers, with your friends, all of those things. So the next thing that we added, and this is something that I did not do early in my career, I do more of it now, is 1 handwritten note per day. And the idea with this is obviously, I learn from the people that I coach because they coach me as I coach them. And also, just thinking about business a different way. But think about how we're all being communicated with in today's environment. We get bombarded with text messages. We get bombarded with phone calls. We get bombarded with emails. You know what we do not get bombarded with? Handwritten notes in the mailbox. We get the happy birthdays, the happy Easters, the Merry Christmases, Happy New Year's, but that's about it. If you write a handwritten note to someone, leverage social media. Maybe someone had to put their animal down, or maybe someone had a kid graduating from college, or maybe someone just got engaged. If you don't want to do a DM or a comment, that's a great opportunity to do a handwritten note and to stand out. And that lasts a long time.
Yeah, it does.
Right. That's not a DM and a comment probably lasts for about 30 seconds. Right. Someone sees it. Oh, that's great. Right. A DM probably lasts, maybe a day. But a handwritten note can last months.
It can go to the fridge. It can go by the desk. It can go somewhere, and it has some shelf life to it.
Shelf life. So one handwritten note and gather one address. Obviously, addresses are important, especially if you're building your business through your sphere and client events and appreciation parties and all of those things. So that's 1 point per day. And then phone calls, two calls to your SOI. Each call to your SOI is 1.5 points. I think those are more meaningful phone calls. You're building, further building your relationship with that person. Or if you're on an internet lead team like myself, or you have a lot of leads, 25 database calls per day. If you do all 25 of those calls, that's 3 points right there. Everything that we just went over is your 23 points for the day. Now we have one thing that we added this year that, agents were asking me about, and why don't I have a point system around that, which is the face-to-face appointment. So if you go on a face-to-face appointment, that is a bonus of 5 points per day, because ultimately what we need to be working towards as a real estate agent is real estate conversations that lead to then face-to-face appointments, listing appointments, or buyer consultations.
Yeah.
Right. Or if you're, a team lead, right, maybe that's an agent appointment because you're trying to build your team. So you could potentially have above 23 points. And the goal of this is that you track it. We're not going to score, 23 out of 23 every single day. The goal is to do that, right? That's the goal. It's like, I love that quote that Giannis had at the end of, losing the championship that one year, right? The world's not ending. I'm paraphrasing, right? But the world's not ending because we didn't win the championship. The world's not going to end if you guys don't get 23 out of 23 every day. But the goal is the pursuit, right? The pursuit of going out and doing consistent business, consistent work. This is consistent effort, right? This doesn't cost money. This costs your time, your effort, your energy, and your focus to make sure you're doing this every single day. And it should bring you clarity on what to do every day, which a lot of agents do struggle with, is I don't know what to do. So then we end up doing nothing. Well, here it is. If you want to knock it out between 9 and 10:30 every single morning, great. If you want to do it at 9 p.m. at night, you can do it at 9 p.m. There's no boundaries when it comes to when these things get done. And I learned that from watching my wife when she was doing Arbonne. She was sent a 90-day success plan just like this. And I'd see her at 9:30 at night, right, doing a handwritten note to send out the next day, or making a comment, or, sending out direct messages to people. Yeah. And as real estate agents, I feel like a lot of times we put pressure on ourselves, like it's got to be done during this time. I can't, and if I don't do it, then it's a lost day or whatever. This is a guide. It's a success plan. Do it daily. Doesn't matter when you do it, fit it in, and then track, right?
Yeah. I love that.
Some weeks will be great.
Yeah. I love what you said there too. It's I think we gave ourselves an excuse to not do the thing. Cause I used to be that way with working out or going for a run or getting that, whatever that activity in. It's like, oh, if it doesn't happen in the morning, then it's not going to happen. And then you bail yourself out. Right. So I think it's just important to understand it doesn't matter. Yeah. Ideally we want the structure. Shit happens. Right. Yeah. But no matter what, we still get it done. Yeah. And I think the beautiful thing, then you get into, where you can, get that win the day, and then you do it again tomorrow. Yep. And then you do it again the day after that. And you start stacking that together. That's where you build momentum. And that's where shit just becomes easy. Yeah. But it's that force to get it going in that regard. And it's kind of cool. I'm glad you added the bonus for the face-to-face. And, when at NAEA and when we did the podcast, that was very strategic. It was called face-to-face because in real estate, there's nothing more valuable to where you really change the outcome And that's the whole objective, is get knee to knee, face to face in everything that we do. And that's with big relationships. That's with motivated sellers, motivated buyers, motivated real estate agents, vendors, associates. It doesn't matter, man. We're just trying to get face to face.
Yeah.
And we can do it here now, or we can do it, physically knee to knee. But our whole objective, everything we do, has to lead to a conversation, and a conversation has to lead to face to face.
Yeah.
If you do those two things, right? And typically there's a constraint. One, getting the conversation. Once you can solve that, then the conversation to face to face, and then you solve that, and then you just get enough reps, man, when you're face to face, and you really come in from a consultative, I give a shit, I want to help you solve your problem approach. Shit just gets easy at that point.
Yeah, for sure. It's just consistency, having a plan.
That's it, man. Clarity and a plan, and then execute on that plan.
Yep.
But it's a plan that you can commit to, right? I think get clear on your current reality, get clear on your future, get clear on your capabilities, your strengths, your desires. Get with somebody that can help you put the plan together, right? And that's where we can come in, sevenfigurecall.com. It's what blows me away, John, is how many times we offer a call, but actually how many people take us up on it. It's a human nature thing, I think, because I think come back to a cultural thing. I think come back to, this Western culture, US type work culture is like, and maybe I don't know why people believe that it's a badge of honor that they figure shit out on their own, right?
Yeah.
They go around like I did this on my own. Nobody did fucking shit on their own, right? Like Tiger Woods hasn't won all he's won on his own. He's got a team.
Yeah.
He's always had a team, right? In the beginning, it was him and his dad, right? And his mom, right? He had a team in the beginning. He had his mom and his dad.
Yep.
And I think that's just the reality of it, is that, man, asking for help is a superpower, and it collapses time. And this is, we've all been guilty of it. I've been guilty of it. Still guilty of it at times, but clarity, plan, and getting somebody to help you put a plan together and really looking at it, John, and then asking yourself, is that something that I'm willing to commit to? And it's either yes or no. And if no, it's like, okay, well, what are you willing to commit to? Well, what can I do in this amount of time frame? I don't know. Let's calculate your plan, right? That's where a great coach, somebody like yourself, that can come in and can be like, listen, bro, like, I hear you. You got, you got filet mignon, taste, but you're trying to operate on a cheeseburger budget, cheeseburger, output.
Yeah.
If you want that, then this is what's required. Are you willing to do that? And I think that's the real question, where a lot of people don't get into that conversation. And the reality, man, is they don't have anybody to get in that conversation with. And I think that's where, if they don't have that, somebody doesn't have that in their circle, get on a call with us. Geez, like if you were drowning, I would throw you a life preserver. Like, dude, get on a call.
There's no shame in having a coach or a mentor, right? Luckily for me, I had one since day one of my career. That's why I'm passionate about helping people get into this business, because I know a lot of people don't have that. They don't even know, sometimes they don't even know who to turn to.
Right.
They don't have a clue. They're in the wrong brokerage, in the wrong environment, or on the wrong team that's set up the wrong way. And they don't even know what to ask. And
it's the whole thing, right? It's not, they're just not problem aware. And it's the whole thing, like a fish doesn't know anything above the water, right? It only knows the water and below, but it doesn't know that there's a whole nother world just above the water. Yeah. And it's the same thing, it's just a lot of agents, they're just not problem aware. And I think that's where great assessments, like my growth score is a really good assessment of your business. It is the best assessment that I've ever taken when it comes to, really what's going on in your business. Having those type of assessment, but that's clarity, man, getting real clear on what the damn is going on. But I think that also takes somebody that wants bigger, that wants better. and is fed up with where things are at right now.
Yeah, for sure. Book a call with us. We're here to help.
Yes, sir. Brother, I appreciate you. Congratulations again.
Yes, thank you.
This Father's Day will have a little different meaning for you.
Yes, that's true.
Cool. All right, guys. 7figurecall.com. Jump on a call, and we will see you guys there. See ya.